Welcome back, everybody, for another episode. In today's episode, we're going to get right into it, and it's going to be about these quarterback contracts that are currently being given out in the NFL and how that trickles down to everybody else in the NFL. So, let's just take, for instance, I know I'm even sick of talking about it, the Lamar Jackson situation now that he was slapped with the non-exclusive franchise tag, which is what we've been saying here at Mike Drop Sports for a while now. We knew this was going to happen when the GM and everybody else in that organization kind of acted like they didn't even want Lamar Jackson anymore. And I mean, I don't think that's probably in their best interest for the short term, but in the long term, it's going to be better. Baltimore, we'll see how that trickles down and how Baltimore can crawl out from under such a heavy blow of losing an athlete at that position. Lamar is an athlete at that position. I just don't like him as a top franchise quarterback, in my opinion. Do I think he deserved to get paid before Deshaun Watson? Absolutely. Lamar doesn't seem like a bad guy. Deshaun Watson seemed to be a not so upstanding type citizen. So, do I think Lamar Jackson deserved that money before Deshaun Watson? Absolutely. And now that Lamar is available to talk to other teams and see what else is out there, what do you think that current market is going to be for him? You have that huge contract in Cleveland that the Browns gave Deshaun Watson. And that contract is, I don't know, it reset the market and it totally put it upside down because now teams have to pay so much money to one player. Let's just do a little bit of the math. I did a little bit, just a tiny bit to break it down to see, what we're looking at right now and what if you pay these guys just what you have to pay them. So you have 52 active guys. We're just going to use base, no coaches' salaries, no nothing, just nothing else coming out of it, just what's on the salary cap for players at 52 players. So this is what you got to do here. And I know some players make it way more than others, and some make league minimum, some make super high contracts depending on who you are. So just say the cap now it's $224.8 million, right? Yeah, 224.8 million per team, per 52 players, per active roster. So we're going to break that down into 52 players. Say you have 2 players on your team that you pay big contracts to. Say we pay what Lamar is looking at. We'll say, we'll just be fair, 52.2 million per season for that guy. That takes you down to 172.6 million. So, now one player's ate up that. You've went from 225 million almost, 224.8, down to 172.6 million. That's a far jump. So now let's just say you have another superstar on defense. And you pay that defensive edge rusher superstar a contract in the range of $18.5 million. So $18.5 million. That's 2 players now. One big deals, which is probably fair to say most teams have more big contracts than that. So we're just going to say that takes you down to 154.1. Now you're going to divide that by another 50 players that are on the active roster. 2 people have ate up from 224.8 to 154.1 million. Just 2 players. This is just a make-believe scenario, guys. This is what I'm just trying to show you how much these cap hits play into this when you're building the roster. So now, if you divide what's left, that 154.1 million is left. And you have to divide that, just say 50 players, so everybody would be equal again. You'd be down to allocate to each player 3.82 million. Yeah, 3.82 million to divide by 50 players. 50 guys, and you can only maximum spend $3.82 million if you're going to pay the rest of them equally. How does that work? And I know you can do bonuses. I get that. You can move money around. There's these genius math guys that know how to move money around to create space. And there's rules in the NFL that allow you to bonus and roster bonus and player incentives. And you can build things into the contract that bring up the value, but they're not guarantees. So that's bad for the player because the player's looking for all guaranteed money. And eventually, I think it's going to have to be that way to where all the contracts are going to be like, hey, Cat, we're giving you $5 million, all guaranteed no matter what you do, if you play it down or not. But you're committed to us for a year, and we're paying you $5 million no matter what, straight out the gate. And that's what I think will eventually happen years down the road, which then the owners and all those people don't like that. That makes the cap tough because everything's guaranteed, so you can't move too much around. So you have to give a lot of bonuses, but that team has to be able to have a lot of cash on hand because I think there's something. So Deshaun Watson got all that money guaranteed. I think the Browns, and I'm pretty sure this is how it works, they have to have that amount of money to be able to put into an account, and it has to be like guaranteed that way. So there's a lot of stuff that goes. There's a lot of moving parts, but you're down to $3.8 million, $3.08 million. Yeah, $3.082 million. So it's not 3.8, almost 4. It's almost under 3. Almost under 3. For 50 players, guys. So how do you break that down as a team? Let's just take my team, for instance, because it's easier for me to talk about, okay? So you got Kenny Pickett coming up into year 2. Year 2. Now, when Kenny comes up into year 3, 4, whatever, now what are you doing? It's time to start thinking about paying him here. You got about 1, 2 more years of being able to really make a run at it without paying him a boatload of money. But he's going to want some money, especially if he performs and wins and takes them to a Super Bowl per se, AFC championship game. He's going to want paid like the rest of these cats. So now you're the Steelers and you're allocating Minkah Fitzpatrick, big box. TJ Watt, big box. Deontay Johnson, big bucks. Oh, wait, here comes George Pickens. We're going to have to pay that cat too. So who do we get rid of? Somebody got to go. Now, because that's too many big contracts. Oh, Pat Freiermuth. Probably the best tight end because you have a declining Mark Andrews. And I love Mark Andrews. I think he's a hell of a ball player, man. He's a tough tight end. He's really hard to handle. But I think Pat Freiermuth is a young guy really coming on and can make some good catches. And I think you're going to see him grow in 2023. But there's him. You're going to have to pay him. What are you going to pay him? 12 mil a year? Minkah? What is he? 18 mil a year, something like that? 20 mil a year? TJ Watt, 18 to 20 million a year? Yeah, you're going to have to restructure a lot of guys. You're going to have to try to give a lot of bonuses, a lot of different things. You're going to have to move a lot around to be able to just get yourself regular players, to be able to like draft regular players, because you have to make so much room to be able to have these draft people come in because you got to pay them a certain amount of money per the league. So that's all like broken down on like where you're picked, all that, how much you're going to get, you know? So guys, this cap situation just becomes harder and harder and harder. And I'm glad to see they do bump it up. You know, that does help too, because that'll free up a guy right on a team right on the border. Hey, you get a couple mil, you know, it bumps up. So now you're, you know, in the good, you're in the green instead of in the red to start it off, just say, if you're real close to the border there. But how do teams overcome this? I don't know. You have to just be a team that makes a lot of money to where you can give a lot of this money up front in bonuses and be able to really, really do, you know, some damage with the bonuses and be like, hey guys, this is the big contracts. We'll try to fit them in all under the cap and I'm just going to pay you every year to restructure so we can sign new. I mean, that's just what it, you know, I mean, I don't know what else to say or how else to fix it. I've been trying to do some math and research on it, but I am no capologist, guys. I just wanted to give you guys some of the numbers. But just say you had that Cleveland Browns team, that organization that totally flopped on a desperate contract for Deshaun Watson, and that has reset a quarterback market to where you're going to have to pay someone like Lamar Jackson huge money. Huge money. I just don't know, man. I wouldn't want to pay. I wouldn't want to give up everything that you have to give up to acquire Lamar Jackson. I know there's some other guys out there that do talk on football, Steelers, Baltimore, and they're saying that there's like at least 10 teams that should be interested in Lamar Jackson right now. I don't think so. I mean, I think he's going to be back in Baltimore playing on a $32.4 million the more I think about it. I just think that's what's going to happen because I don't know if teams are willing to give it up. We'll see. And maybe the owners are trying to prove a point of, hey, we're not paying this. We'll pay good and we'll pay what you're worth, but like, we're not paying the Deshaun Watson deal. I mean, look how tied up the Arizona Cardinals are right now with Kyler Murray. He is not a quarterback that's going to get you to a Super Bowl, and now you're totally tied up with this kid for a guaranteed $180 million. Go ahead and get rid of him. It's just dead cap then. What do you do then? You can't even get rid of the guy. So no matter how bad he underperforms, and I get it, these guys are out there risking it all, dude. You take one wrong hit, as we've seen this year with Damar Hamlin. I mean, you take one wrong way on a hit and you fall weird, or you get your head hit weird, your neck hit weird, something, you lose it all, man. And that money don't mean shit. Honestly, when you can't play with your kids, you can't play the sport that pays you, and you can't earn money no more because you're an athlete and now you're paralyzed or worse, dead, man. This is American Gladiators, like, truly. It can't happen, and people, I know it's very fun and super entertaining, and we talk a lot of shit on these guys, but they do deserve to get paid a lot of money, man, because they could take a hit one time, and now they're done forever, and now all of a sudden, what they thought was going to be a promising career, being rich and loaded, and not no more, you know? But how does the Browns franchise make up to the rest of the NFL for really screwing them? Browns organization did Browns organization type things, guys. For sure here. We see that every time. But usually it just affects the Browns and how bad the Browns suck. And they're pretty good at sucking. They're pretty damn good at sucking. But now the Browns are such dumbass organization that now they've affected the whole league with their dumb contract. Now everybody has to pay the price for it. Every team in the NFL has to be up there. And if you're not close to that, you ain't getting nobody. And that's what these quarterbacks are standing tall, but I'm hoping the owners are trying to bring it back down. I'm not saying you need to bring it back down drastically, because no, I think they're worth it. They're the guy that drives the team. They're the guy that wins the games. They're the guy that you're going to talk about on Monday morning when they throw a pass into the ground. They're going to be the ones to blame, and I think they should deserve to have the payday. They're the ones that carry all the weight of the media, the franchise, the image of the franchise alone just on their shoulders all the time. And we have to remember that as fans, as media personalities, and they need to make that money. And these other guys that are in the trenches, we didn't even talk about that in the cap. You have to pay linemen big bucks. So you're going to probably average having a great offensive line. If you're lucky and you have one or two rookies on there to where you're paying them cheap, you're still going to average between the other three guys, 10, 12 million, 13 million a piece for a good center, a good left tackle, all that stuff. You're going to be averaging all that money on the line. And that's not counting the defensive line that you probably got to pay a couple bones to. We'll take some teams like you're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles now with Javon Hargrave. They gave him the bag right away when he came from the Steelers, which I would have. And the Steelers, I think, got pretty close to what the Eagles wanted, but Andy Weidel outbid them. I listened to a report from DK Sports Pittsburgh. He was talking about this same situation, the Javon Hargrave situation, and his contract and how the Steelers, were close. And DK gave me that little tidbit that I'm passing on to you guys. Thanks, DK. He does great work. I would go over and subscribe to his channel if you really want to hear good sports talk and good radio. And he has Ramon Foster show, all types of stuff on DK Sports. So get over there and watch it. Also, while we're on that subject, like the videos here, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. It lets you join into the conversation, lets you know when you turn on that notification bell that we're here talking and we're here bullshitting. Put it in the comments what you want answered. I'll find the answer for you, or I'll tell you what I think or what I'm thinking is going to happen. So do that. Like the video, subscribe, share the shit out of the channel. We want to hit 500 subscribers by the end of March. I think, yeah, March. So let's try to do that. But anyway, back to the Browns and how they screwed the whole NFL. Browns do Browns things, man. They always suck. They always have first-round picks. They blow them on people like Baker Mayfield, Tim Couch. It's like, where do they get their scouting department from? I'm not sure. It's just such bonehead moves always out of Cleveland. And come on. Now you're stuck with this inflated contract on a guy who's not a good person, who's hard to present as your image for the franchise. Hey, this dude messes with chicks and got accused of it 90 times. It's not a coincidence anymore that he's got accused this much. But hey, he's the face of our franchise. Come on, man. Come on. Pardon me. Let me grab a little bit of a drink. But anyway, Deshaun Watson. Bad deal for the whole NFL. And now the whole NFL pays for it. And now you have teams like the Steelers that have these young QB up-and-coming talents that now they're frantically thinking to themselves, like the teams, how do we already figure out how to keep that player and keep the cap under control? And the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC North are really going to have to deal with that now. Do you think Joe Burrow's going to make less than Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson? Joe Burrow's won big games. Natties, national championships, been to Super Bowls, should have won one in my opinion. But anyway, do you think he's going to make less than Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson? Neither one have won any games that are like in the NFL that warrant them to ever make more. Deshaun Watson's won a big game or two in his career collegiately. NFL-wise, I ain't seen him win anything big. So, you tell me, guys. Those guys who haven't won a thing, how do they deserve more money than somebody that has won? And that has won championships. Or not college championships. But been pretty close to an NFL championship. Been pretty close to an NFL championship. And, hey, the Browns drama bleeds into the whole AFC North. And now that's going to affect the contracts of all the quarterbacks in the AFC North, the whole NFL. The Browns drama is going to now bleed into controlling the cap because you're paying huge inflated monster salaries to quarterbacks that are fully guaranteed. And you got to figure out where to stash their money every year in order to build a roster around them. Guys can't do it on their own. Players are too fast, man. Way too fast. Way too big. Way too smart. Nowadays, in the NFL, for a quarterback to just carry a team constantly every game, put it on his shoulders like gunslinger, gonna get it done. It's very hard, and that's a generational talent that can do that anyway. But the guys are just too good nowadays to even think that you can win with not putting anybody around these quarterbacks. And if that's what you got to do now, though, I mean, I don't know. And then the team that gets lucky that can keep some people on some cheap deals and some hometown discounts and maybe actually treating your players good and providing quality facilities and things like that. Like the Bengals didn't even have an indoor facility. You know, maybe that comes in more to play now, to where these guys want to go to a place that's nice to live for their kids, good schools. The facility is super nice. The organization treats them well. You know, they're always loyal to them. They give them a fair contract every time to keep them and keep them involved in the city and in the organization. Maybe that's, you know, comes into play more. I'm not sure. But guys, I want to know in these comments what you guys think is going to happen now that we've had the Deshaun Watson deal that's totally absurd, and how that trickles down to everybody. And now you have the non-exclusive franchise tag applied to Lamar Jackson, which could very easily turn into him playing for the Ravens again at $32.4 million. And somebody was saying, and one of the sports shows was saying that, oh, you're going to have a pissed off Lamar Jackson, and that's going to be trouble for everybody in the division. Come on, man. We've seen how to neutralize Lamar. If you're worried about it, oh well. Like, at best, you'll split. Okay, you play him twice. You're going to split, whatever. Pick that game up somewhere else if he's that pissed. I don't think it's going to make him that much better, because I don't think he's that good. But everybody thinks, like, just because he was the MVP voted on by sports writers, that that's it, because they know everything. But I don't think so. Sorry. I think that Lamar Jackson had a good year. Didn't win a Super Bowl. Didn't even make it far in the playoffs. Okay. You got a personalized trophy. I want to see team trophies. And that's what it boils down to. You know, I'm sure Lamar's a nice guy and stuff like that. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm sure he's better than Deshaun Watson, evidently, by the lawsuit. So I'm sure Lamar isn't that kind of a turd. So I think Lamar definitely deserves to be paid over Deshaun. But come on, guys. You're keeping these guys like Lamar, who don't win you any big games anyway. So who cares? Quit paying them all that money. Move on. Roll the dice with somebody else. Use these 2 first-round picks, or if you can get more, whatever you can get, man. Use those. Parlay those into another quarterback somehow. Make a big move. Make a big splash. Figure out how to be exotic in how you trade players, trade picks, trade money, however you got to do it. Be exotic in that. Be like groundbreaking, you know, to stay ahead of the curve and stay ahead of these inflated contracts and stay ahead of the salary cap for the next year. And don't let yourself fall into fall asleep at the wheel here, building this year's team and only focusing and not realizing how crappy the ramifications are in the next 3 years. If you want to be a competitive team, you really got to be planning for the future for sure with this cap and the way you got to move money and the way where they're paying these players nowadays. So, again, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to get up out of here. We're at 22.5 minutes. So I don't like to keep you too long, but just some tidbits of the NFL, AFC North quarterback sagas and carousel going around the NFL with quarterbacks now. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the shit out of it, send it to everybody you know. We want to hit 500 subs by the end of that month, or of this month. So keep sharing, keep doing everything you can to get it out there. We're going to hit 500 by the end of the month, and then we're going for 1,000 the next month. Ooh, sorry guys, that was bad there. I won't even edit it out. That was my fault. I'm using these new wired headphones because they give me a little bit more sound quality, I think, for the video. So let me know what you think about that too also, guys. I'm just experimenting. I do have the computer with the mic and stuff like that, so I can do that and bring that down in here to the mic drop layer. So, but anyway, thanks again for coming and watching, and like the videos and subscribe, and to join the conversation, you just hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, and then you'll be notified every time we're on your chat in a little bit. So hit me up. We're going to start doing some lives next week also from the computer, so that way you guys can interact also. So I'm kind of letting you know a little bit early here. So all right guys, till next time, later.